In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an AI no-code app in minutes that will automate your candidate screening process. With a beautiful interface, you will be able to create open positions, let candidates to apply on them, and see who applied to each job in a list sorted by a rating given by ChatGPT. The AI will analyze each candidate's PDF resume, give a rating depending on the suitability for that applicant for that job, and then give you the reasons why it rated that applicant with that specific score. But not just that. With the setup you're going to learn today, you're going to be able to customize it at your taste and add as many features or variables as you want. So bear with me until the end to see the final result. The tools we're going to be using are three: Pinecone, Bubble.io, and Flowise. Pinecone is a vector store in which we are going to store the PDFs from the applicants. Bubble is a no-code builder in where we are going to create the interface and the web application. And Flowise is a no-code AI agent and chat flow builder in where we are going to integrate ChatGPT and the AI features. So the first thing you're going to need is to create a Pinecone account. You just type in the browser Pinecone, okay, and you click the first result. It is going to redirect you to the Pinecone landing page and you click in sign up. In this case, I have an account already created, and once you create your account, you go to indexes and create a new index. You give it a name. I'm going to put test, and here in this configuration you select this option, and that's it. You can click on create. I don't going to click here because it is not necessary, and with that we are all set up in Pinecone. The next thing to do is to set up Flowise. YouTube is full of videos on how to do this, so I'm going to leave this up to you and come back to this video once you have Flowise set it up. Once you're in your Flowise account, go to this section called chat flows and create a new one. We are going to be creating two chat flows. One is to observe the PDF documents, and the other one will be the one in charge to rate the applicants for the jobs and give the reasons why it rated the applicants with that specific score. So the first node we're going to add is the recursive character text splitter. Then we're going to add the PDF file. Okay, let's connect these nodes this way. Then we are going to add the Pinecone node. And let's connect this node to this one. And the final node is the OpenAI embeddings, this one. And let's connect this with this, like so. Okay, now we are going to set up the credentials. You have to look into your OpenAI account and generate an API key for this application and give it a name. Click here in add. However, I have my credential already set it up, so I don't have to set up this again. Now with the model name, ensure you selected this one. That is the same one we selected while creating our index in Pinecone. Here in the credentials from Pinecone, you have to select your API keys too. You have to go to Pinecone and create your own credentials if you don't have ones. And in the Pinecone index, you have to go to your Pinecone dashboard and copy and paste the name you gave to that index. Okay, click on save and give it a name and click here, and that's it. We have created our observed chat flow to observe our PDF documents. Now let's go to create the next chat flow. So create in add new one. Okay, here we're going to add the OpenAI embeddings. Select the credentials. Ensure you have selected this model name. Then let's add the Pinecone node and connect this. Select your Pinecone API key. Set up this field with the index you gave in Pinecone. Let's add a retrieval Q&A chain. Connect this. And the last node will be chat OpenAI, this one. Connect this like so. The credentials. In this case, we're going to be using GPT-4o, the latest one, and leave it as it is. Let's save this, give it a name, and click here. And now we are all set up with Flowise. At this time, you might be wondering why I gave this name to this application. And this is a surprise for those who bear with me until this part of the video, because we are not going to be creating a normal recruitment AI automation. because instead of jobs we're going to have city issues or city problems, and instead of normal applicants we're going to be dealing with superheroes. So the app is going to be rating the suitability of every hero with every of the problems of the city. If you're liking this content, remember to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and if you need help building your application, reach me out with the links I leave you in the description. With that said, let's jump into Bubble. We're going to be creating two pages. One is the dashboard, in where we're going to be able to see the jobs posted, to create new open positions, in this case the problems of the cities, and to see the applicants. And the other page will be the jobs page, where superheroes will be able to apply for jobs. The first thing we're going to do is to create a reusable element that will be the header of the two pages we're going to create. So let's click here, create a new reusable element, and header tutorial. Perfect. Let's set a mean width of 400 pixels here, and 50 pixels here. Now the background color will be this green, that is 20, 39, 33. Now let's create a group. The container alignment will be a link to parent, and I am going to set 10 pixels of padding in each side. I am going to paste an image I have already created for this application, and let's create a new icon. This icon will be here, the color will be white. And let's set the menu icon from the material gallery. The size will be 45 pixels, and let's name this group as header. Okay, now let's add a focus group. This focus group will have as reference element the icon. Let's set 135 pixels minus 100 pixels. Let's add an icon here. Oh, before that, let's add 10 pixels of padding for the focus group on each side. Click here and set this as the close icon with the same green color. I'm going to set here a shadow. Okay, it's already set it up, so I like to have an offset of 0 pixels. Now let's add a group here which will contain the buttons of the menu, and the buttons will be two links. One is the jobs link, and the other one will be the dashboard. Okay, let's set the color for the text. The size is correct. Let's set this as bold. Uncheck this. Put this as 0. Add some padding. 5 here, 5 at the top, and 10 on each side. And let's set the text alignment as this one. A roundness of 10 pixels. And let's set two conditionals. I'm going to uncheck this. And here, when this link is hovered, let's set a background style of flat color and a background color with this code. For the other condition, I'm going to copy and paste this. Let's change the condition when the current page name is jobs tutorial. I'm going to change the background color for this red, for this green color, and the font color will be white. Let's click here and click Ctrl D, and here instead of jobs tutorial it will be dashboard tutorial. Let's change the text for dashboard and change the destination. In this case, okay, I have to create the destination page and the jobs page, and the only thing I left to do is to add some gap between elements, 5 pixels. So now let's add some workflows. This will be the hide menu element, I like to name the elements that trigger a workflow with the action they are going to be triggering. So in this case, this will hide the group focus, and this element will do the contrary. So this is show menu, add a workflow. Let's click here, show the group focus A. And I do that this way because when you name the elements with the action or with the workflow they are going to be triggering, you don't have to change the name of the workflow, and that way when you see a workflow you can know what element is triggering that and copy and paste that in the, for example, here in the search elements. Okay, so now let's create the dashboard page. Great. I had to continue recording this video a day after, so let's go ahead. We were building the dashboard page, but before we continue, let's go to the database and I'm going to show you how to set up this database. First of all, let's go to option sets and create a new option set called solicitude states, in where we are going to create 3 options: pending, accepted, and rejected. So you type here and click here in create and you add those options, and we don't have to create new attributes, just leave this as so. Now let's go to data types and we're going to create 3 data types. One is the solicitude, the other is jobs, and the other is applicant. You just have to type here and create a new one. And then in the applicant data type, let's create the CV field that will be a file in where we are going to store the resume of the applicant or the candidate. Then some basic information such as the email, last name, the phone of the applicant, which are going to be text fields, and the namespace is a field that we're going to use when connecting with Pinecone. Then the solicitude will be a list of solicitudes, and the video details and the video URL. Basically, in the video URL, we're going to be storing this part of the URL from YouTube, which is the ID of the video, and that's all for this data type. Now let's go to jobs. In jobs, we are going to store the job details, an image from the job, a job subtitle, a title, a location, and a list of solicitudes. In the solicitude data type, let's create an applicant field, a CV, which is going to be the same file as the one the applicant has stored here, the job linked to the solicitude, the rank and the rank number are fields that the AI is going to be filling in. So in the rank number, it is going to be filling a number from 0 to 10 depending on the suitability of the candidate, and the rank is basically the text with the reasons why the AI decided to give that specific rank or rating. And finally, the state, which is going to be this option set, and set this by default as pending. Now we are finished with the database part. Let's go ahead with the dashboard. The first thing we're going to do is to change the container layout to column, then change the background color of this page and put this one, and let's add the header we just created. Perfect. Now let's add a group that will be the body of the page. Set margins of 15 pixels on each side and uncheck this. Name this as the body. Now let's add other group here, and in the group add 2 texts. One will be open positions. Let's set a padding of 10 pixels on the top, 10 pixels on the bottom, and 20 and 20 on the left and the right. Uncheck this and set a maximum width of 200 pixels and click here. Check this, duplicate the button, and then the other button will be the applicants. Let's change the container layout of this to row, and this container alignment. Let's set a maximum width of 800 pixels and center it. And to the body, add a padding of 25 on the top and 20 in the left and 20 in the right. Alright. And let's uncheck. Let's remove this and this. So name this group as the options and let's add the other group, which will contain the jobs or open positions. Okay, let's uncheck this and add other group inside, because we will have one group for the jobs, another group for the job applicants. So this will be the open positions group. Uncheck this. Set margins and paddings of 15 pixels on each side. Change the background color and a roundness of 10 pixels, and set a box shadow with 0 of offset on each direction. Now let's add a new text that will be the title of this group. Open positions, check the bold option. Next, let's add a button. This will be the button to create a new open position. Set this as an icon and label button, and select this icon. I like to set the roundness at 10 pixels and the font size as 16 pixels, bold, and the gap as 10 or maybe 7 pixels. Perfect. For the open positions group, let's add a gap between elements of 10 pixels. Next, let's add a text that will be shown when we don't have any open positions created, so that the user of this application knows that he has to create an open position in order to see it displayed in this list. So I already have a text prepared for this. Paste that. I'm going to check this. And what the text says to the user is that still there are not open positions created. Create the first one. And now let's go and create a repeating group. Will be at jobs. The type of content will be jobs, and this will do a search for all the jobs that we have created in our application. Uncheck this and set this as 2 columns. Okay, uncheck this and uncheck this too. Now inside this group, let's add other one that will contain every of the jobs created. So I'm going to name this as each job or each open position. Let's set a background color, this color. Let's set a margin of 5 pixels on the bottom and 5 pixels on the right. Change the kind of or the type of content to jobs and the current sales job. Now let's add a group inside this one, but before, click on the each job group and set the paddings of 10 pixels for each side. Okay, let's add an image here. Change the container layout to raw. The size of the image will be 100 pixels on each side. Okay, let's set the roundness of 10 pixels. Let's add another group inside this one, which will contain the job details. So let's name this as job details. It will be a column with 5 pixels of row gap spacing, and uncheck this. Yeah, it is already checked. The image will be a dynamic image with each job image. Now let's add a group here. Copy this and paste this text. This will contain the job title, so let's add it. Job, it's job title. Oh my gosh. Yeah, job title. Control D, uncheck the bold one and make this a little smaller, and this will be the job subtitle. Here is the subtitle, and last will be the location of the job. So the same here, the location, and this will be an even smaller text. Let's set this as 12 pixels. Now click here and Control D, delete this, copy this text and paste it here, delete this image. This will be the amount of candidates that have applied to this job. So let's type applicants, 2 points, and instead of the location will be the solicitude count. Change this don't know, 6 maybe. And let's click here, Control C and Control V here. Select this. Let's change the min height as, I don't know, 25 pixels maybe. And a smaller text, I think 12 pixels will work. And change this. Now let's add a conditional to this text. Define a new condition. Let's copy the name of this repeating group, paste it here, and when this list of jobs count is 0, this group will be visible, and if not, it is not going to be displayed. Let's check how our app is being shown. Okay, and as you can see, this is what we have so far. The next thing to do is to create a way to create new open positions. So let's add a pop-up to the page, set the maximum width as 450 pixels, remove this, add a header group for this pop-up. Let's add a text to the pop-up, Control C, open the pop-up, Control V, this will be a row. Let's add an icon, change the container alignment. The icon will be this one, change the color to this green, and remove the min height and the mid width. Let's add a gap spacing between elements to the pop-up of 10 pixels. And let's create the 5 fields to create a new open position. So the first one will be to upload the image. So let's add a group, image uploader. This will have a container layout of a link to parent. Let's change the background style to flat color and set this color and the roundness of 20 pixels. Let's add another group inside this group. Set a roundness of 20 pixels, a dashed borders with this green color. Copy this icon and paste it here. Put it in the middle. Set this icon and change the size. Copy this text, paste it here, set it in the middle, and change this text. Okay, let's add some padding to the group. 12 pixels on each side. And to this text, let's add 12 pixels on the bottom. Great. Now let's add the picture uploader input. Okay, and I am going to put this inside this group, but to set this as the last item, uncheck these two and set the min width and min height at 0. Now set a roundness of 20 pixels and the opacity as 0. Yeah, let's continue with the next inputs. Let's add the job title, so it will be an input. Let's set a roundness of 20 pixels. This will be the background color. Change the placeholder color and set it with an opacity of 70. Remove the borders and uncheck this. Set the height as 40 pixels and change the placeholder. Now let's add the subtitle. It will be a multi-line input. Change this color, 70 of opacity. Remove the borders. The background style will be a flat color. This color. Uncheck this. And the min height will be 50 pixels. Change the roundness as 20 pixels, Control D, and this will be the descriptions or details. And click here, Control D, and name this as the location. Now let's click on this button, Control C, open again the pop-up, click here, Control V, uncheck this one, and I'm going to create a job. So now let's add the workflows to the buttons. The first one will be to show the pop-up. So let's name this button as show job creator, edit workflow, and this will show the pop-up. I'm going to change the name of the pop-up. Okay, now let's add the workflow to this icon. In this case, this will hide the pop-up. Change the name of the icon, hide job creator. And now let's add a workflow to this button. The first thing we are going to do is to create a new job. Add all fields, remove this one, and let's set the respective inputs to each of the fields. First we have the picture uploader image. Then we have the job title, the job subtitle, the details, and the location. Great. The next thing is to reset all the relevant inputs and copy this and paste it here to hide the pop-up. Now let's test it out. Reload the page, create a new open position, I don't know, let's set this. I'm going to put just random information. However, I see that the image is not being shown here, so I am going to add a new conditional here to the picture uploader when this picture uploader is not empty. Change the opacity to 100% and let's try it out again. Create, upload an image, this one. Okay, this being shown. I'm going to add any text, create a job, and now we have a job created. The next thing is to add a condition to this group or to this text. Let's click here, copy and paste it here. And when this group is visible, let's change the background color to this one and the font color to white. Let's ensure we set the roundness of 10 pixels to each of these texts. If we reload the page, okay, let's change this button, remove the icon, it's just going to be a label, and change the text. Great. Now let's add a conditional to this group. Get data from the URL, tab, is jobs, or when this variable is empty, this group is going to be visible. And let's add a custom state to the body. This will be job, jobs, create. And here we're going to set another condition. When the body job is empty, this element is going to be visible. And let's uncheck this. Now we can add a workflow to this text. What this is going to do is to set states to the body group and basically to empty or to erase any data we have stored here, and to go to a page, this same page, send more parameters, tab will be jobs. Let's validate, yeah, jobs. So here we're going to put jobs, and now let's hide this element and create a new group. Uncheck this, remove the min height and the min width, and this will be the job applicants. Here we're going to display the information from the open position and all the applicants or the candidates that have applied to this job. This will be a column. Apply a gap between elements of 10 pixels. Inside this, let's add a group which will contain the job details. So let's name it job details. Let's change the background color to this one. Add some padding to each side. Set a roundness of 10 pixels and change the container layout to row. Then let's add an image. This image will be 250 pixels and let's keep the ratio of the image fixed. Let's set this as a dynamic image that will have the body, job image. Okay, now let's add another group. Job details, I don't know, info maybe. Let's set a gap between elements of 10 pixels. Let's add a text. This text will have a size of 18 pixels, will be white and bold, and will contain the title. So this will be the body, job title. I think that title has 2 T's, so I'm going to change that in jobs, job title. Perfect. Let's set this as follows. Let's uncheck. Okay, let's set this vertical alignment and check this. Control D. Uncheck this one. Put 12 pixels and this will be the job subtitle. Control D. This will be the job details. In the job details, let's uncheck this and uncheck this one. And click here, Control D, make last, and this will be the location. Now to the parent group, let's add a gap between elements of 20 pixels between the column, within columns. The next thing to do is to add a text. This text will be shown when there are no applicants that have applied to this job. So the user knows that this job has 0 candidates right now. I have a text already prepared for this. I'm going to check this and put this text on the middle. I'm going to add a margin of 10 pixels on the top, and that's it. Now the next thing is to add the list of candidates. So let's add a new group. Let's set this as candidates or applicants. This will be a row. Let's set this min height and the max width to this. Now let's add a group that will contain the list of candidates. So candidates list. I'm going to add a padding of 10 pixels at the right and 10 pixels at the left for this group. And let's add a repeating group. Click this group again, feed width to content, and to the repeating group set a minimum width of 250 pixels. The type of content will be solicitude, and the data source will be the body, job, solicitude list, sorted by rank, and set descending as yes. So this way we have the list sorted from the most suitable candidate or the best candidate for this job to the worst one. Let's uncheck this. Here I'm going to add a group that will contain the solicitude information. So each solicitude, it will be solicitude, data source, the current sales solicitude, and it will be a row with this container alignment. Let's add some padding. So 10, 10, 10 and 10 pixels on each side, a roundness of 10 pixels, and a margin at the bottom of 5 pixels. Let's change the background color of this group to this color, and to this group add a text. This text will contain the parent group solicitude, applicant, name. Click here, copy expression, space, and paste it here, and change the name to the last name. Okay, so candidate name. Now let's add an icon, change the icon color and make this a star. Click here, Ctrl D, make next, and this will be the current solicitude rank number. Let's delete this and combine these two groups in a row container. Let's set this group with fixed height and fixed width. The width will be 35 pixels and the height 20 pixels. Fit width to content and remove and set to 0 these values. Now let's add some roundness. Check this on the left 10 pixels and on the bottom left 10 pixels too. Let's set the min height of this group as 100 pixels. Remove this. And for this one, uncheck this. Now let's add a group that will show you the details of the solicitude selected. So here we have the list of the candidates that have applied to this job, and if we click on any of them we can see the details of each of them. So let's add a new group, change the background color, the roundness in this case will be the right parts as 10 pixels on the top and on the bottom. Select this vertical alignment. On this group, set the shadow style as offset and select this group. On the left side, set this as solid with this green color. Great. Change the name of this as selected solicitude. Solicitude. Let's set the min height as 450 pixels. Add some padding, 20, 20, 20 and 10 pixels. Let's add a button here, the horizontal alignment with this one. This is an icon and label button, and select this icon. Delete solicitude. Place the icon at the right, make this a little smaller, so I think with 30 pixels it will be enough. 20 pixels on roundness, and I'm going to set this color with 50% of opacity, and that's it. Now in the job applicants group, let's add a new custom state, and it is going to be the current solicitude selected. So solicitude, okay, create, copy this, and then let's create a new text, bold with 18 pixels, and this is going to display the name and the last name of the applicant. Name, copy this expression, add a space and paste the expression, change the name into the last name, and at the end add CV, applicant name. Okay, then let's add another text. It will be bold 2, and I have prepared this text before, so copy and paste. Let's add a space between elements of 20 pixels, and here we are going to add other text, rank, 2 points. The job applicant, solicitude, rank, okay, it's not the rank, but it is the rank number. Then duplicate this, and here we are going to display the reasons on why the AI decided to give that rank or that rating to that superhero. So in this case it will be the rank split by this and the last item. This is because later in this video I am going to set up the prompt we are going to send to the AI, and the first item or the first element we are going to request from the AI is the number of the ranking and then the explanation. So in the message we are going to have those items divided, first the ranking and then the explanation, and I split that with a semicolon so that first we have the ranking and then the explanation. So because the explanation is the last item, I just split that by the semicolon and left the last item. And let's remove this. Great. Then we are going to add the video. Let's put this bold add a video, and the video ID will be from the job applicant solicitude applicant video URL. Let's set this as 20 pixels. Let's create other group. Okay, here set 10 pixels of roundness, a background color with this color. Let's add some padding, 10 pixels on each side, and add a text inside. This will be the video details, 2 points. Let's uncheck this. The job applicants, solicitude, applicant, video details. Select the rich text editor and click here. Okay. Now I would like to add a line spacing of 1.5, and that is all. Now in this group, which is the job applicants, let's add a condition. When the body job is not empty, this element is visible. And uncheck this element is visible on page load. Now let's hide this and show this, and let's add a workflow to this button. Basically, this workflow will populate the body job custom state. Set state on the body job with the data from the each job group, and let's change the name of this button. So select job. Let's test it out. Okay, I'm going to add a condition to this text too. It is visible. I am going to uncheck this. Let's reload the page. See applicants. Okay. Let's see what happened. Now let's add a conditional to this. Copy this and paste it here. When the list of elements is empty, basically when it's 0, this element is visible. Uncheck this, copy this condition, and let's go to the group candidates, in where we are going to paste this condition. When it is greater than 0, it is going to be visible, and uncheck this too. Let's go to our page again, see applicants, and now it is not displaying any list because no one have applied to this job. Let's uncheck this checkbox on this text. And I am going to add a gap between elements on this group, 10 and 10. Great. Now let's add 2 conditionals to this text. The first one will be triggered when the job applicants group is visible. So let's click here, it's visible. Let's go here, copy this condition, paste that condition here, copy this expression, delete this condition, and paste that expression here. And copy and paste, because now this is going to be visible when get data from the page URL tab is applicants. Okay, now let's hide this and create another group. Make last, and this group will contain all the candidates or applicants that have ever applied for a job. So applicants, let's put all applicants. Uncheck this, check this. Let's go to the job applicants, and basically we are going to copy this group, which is the group candidates, and this text copy with workflows. Okay, before I do that, I forgot to add some conditionals and workflows to this button, to this group. So this group is going to be highlighted whenever the solicitude is the current cell solicitude. So we're going to change the background color. I'm going to use this one, copy this condition and paste it here. But now, instead of changing the background color, let's change the font color and set it as white. Copy, paste it here. change the icon color and set it as white, and the same with this text. Perfect. Now let's add a workflow. This workflow will be for selecting the solicitude. So select, I'm going to put select candidate, edit workflow, and it is going to set the state of the job candidates group, of the job applicants solicitude to the current sales solicitude. Perfect. Now we can copy these two groups, copy with workflows. Let's hide this, hide these two, show this, and here we're going to paste with workflows. Perfect. Now we're going to add a new custom state here. So okay, now here in this repeating group, instead of solicitudes, we are going to be searching for applicants. So I have to change this to do a search for applicants or candidates and sort them by created date. Yes. The next thing to do is to add a gap between elements. I'm going to add 20 pixels, change this text a little bit. No one has applied to a job. And I have to change all of these fields. So the group, applicant, what happened here? Okay, in this group, we are going to create other custom state. Is going to be called applicant. We're going to store the selected applicant. Let's delete this group. Copy this. Okay, I have already selected that. The applicant name, copy expression and paste that expression here, and instead of the name will be the last name, CV. Okay. Here, instead of the analysis, we're going to show the applicant email. Here we're going to show the applicant phone number. Here let's delete this and add a button. I'm going to change the background color to this, 10 pixels of roundness, see, resume, and let's add a workflow to this. Let's select go to page and external page. Okay, open an external website. Let's delete this, open in a new tab, and this will be the applicant CV. Now let's change the video URL and the video details. Now let's add a conditional to this group. Get data from URL, the tab, when the tab is applicants. This element is visible. Uncheck this, and let's add a workflow to this group. Add workflow, go to applicants section, navigation, go to page, this page, send more parameters. The tab parameter will be applicants. Now if we test the application, I will need to add other condition to this other group. I had the conditional correctly, I just had to uncheck this, so let's refresh the page. And now it should work properly. Let's refresh it again. Yeah, so as you can see, it is working properly. And now let's go and create the page for the jobs. Now let's create the page in where our superheroes are going to be able to apply for a job. So back in our Bubble application, add a new page, job, tutorial, create. Let's set the container alignment of the container layout as column, change the background color. Let's set this one. Let's add the header, and I'm going to create a group for the body. So let's create a group, call it the body. Okay, the body will have a maximum width of 450 pixels. Let's center it and uncheck this. Inside it, I'm going to create a group which will contain the job list. So let's name it as job list. Uncheck this. add a margin of 10 pixels on each side, a roundness of 10 pixels, and a background color, set it as flat color. I'm going to select this color. Let's add a shadow with 0 pixels of offset, paddings of 15 pixels each side. Create the first text, open, positions. I'm going to select 18 pixels or no, 24 pixels. Now I'm going to go to the dashboard page, click here in jobs, open this, open positions, copy this and paste it here. Okay, instead of 2 columns, we are going to have 1, and that's it. I'm going to add a gap between elements of 20 pixels. Let's test it out. It is working. Okay, let's click here, Ctrl D to duplicate this group. And this group will be the job details. Let's change this button and put job details and delete this repeating group. Let's change the type of content of the page. It is going to be job. Let's add an icon here, remove this text, left this one. I'm going to select this color. I'm going to copy and paste this section and this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Put this as previous, and this will be the current page job image. The same with the other ones, the current page job, title, current pages job, subtitle, with the location the same. Let's duplicate this, and here will be the details of the job, job details. Let's add a maximum height of 300 pixels, and let's add this button here, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, add a gap between elements of 10, and this one will be here, apply. Let's add some conditionals, so uncheck this, and this one is going to be visible whenever the current page's job is empty. Uncheck this in this group too, and this one is going to be visible whenever the current page jobs is not empty, but this data that we are going to obtain from the URL apply is empty. So let's add a workflow to this button, add workflow, click here, navigation, go to page, this page, jobs tutorial, and the data to send will be the current sales job. Let me see, okay, it's job. Perfect. So now if we test it out, I'm going to delete this, click here, and now we have the details of the job. Let's set up this button too. So let's add a workflow, go to jobs, navigation, open an external website, home URL, and then job tutorial, or the name you gave to this page. So now if we test it again and I click here, we go back to the job list and we can go back here again. And last, we are going to create the group with the form that will allow the superheroes to apply to the job. So let's duplicate this, Ctrl D. I'm going to hide these groups. Okay, let's delete this and this. I'm going to maintain this, delete the button. Let's group these two groups or these two elements in a row container with 10 pixels of gap between elements. Okay, and now let's add another group which will contain the form. Let's add a text, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, previews, center it. I'm going to delete this, copy, apply, okay. Then add another group here, the email. This email will contain a text. Okay, email, 14 pixels, Let's set this as 600, add an input. Okay, let's change the background color of this input, this one. The font color would be this, and the placeholder color will be this green at 70%. Uncheck this and put 40 here. Add some gap between elements, 5 pixels. Let's remove the borders and the roundness as 20 pixels. Your email. Okay, change the size of the text, 14 pixels. This will be the form, the apply form. And add a gap between elements in this apply form too of 5 pixels. Control D. Let's ask for the username, his name. Let's set this as an email. Control D. Change the name of this as name. This will be the last name. The last name. Now let's go with the phone number. Phone number. Here we have the CV uploader. Let's add a file uploader. Remove this. Uncheck this. I'm going to give it the same background color. And the borders, I'm going to set them as this color, dashed, 1 pixel. The same for the text. Yeah, it is already set it up. Let's duplicate these two. Make last. This will be the video URL or video ID, I think. And then the video details. Yeah. Let's add a button. So we are going to divide this in 2 steps. First, we are going to create the applicant and observe the document inside Pinecone. And then we are going to send the solicitude in where we are going to trigger the other chat flow that we created in Flowise that will rate the applicant or the candidate. So create applicant, icon and label with a plus. Uncheck this and set this as 10 pixels of roundness. Control D, and this will be send solicitude. Now, before we can make the workflows for these 2 buttons, you will have to go to the plugin section, install this plugin called the API connector, and create a new API named Flowise or whatever you want to name that. Then we are going to create the first API call that will be the observe doc, which we'll call the Flowise workflow or chat flow that we created to observe the documents. So we are going to go to our Flowise chat flow, and you have to copy and paste this. This basically is the API endpoint of the chat flow, but because we are going to observe a document through a API call, this API endpoint is not going to work. So just copy this or this part of the API endpoint, and then back in our Bubble application, you are going to create another call, name it as observe doc or whatever you want, and here you are going to copy exactly this URL and paste it, and after that you paste the code of the API endpoint from your Flowise application. Then you create a header with the key as content type at the value as application JSON, and you add these 2 parameters. One is the file, basically the resume from the candidate. You have to check this, and the other one is the Pinecone namespace, which we are going to reference to observe the document. Then in the get doc info, you go to your to your Flowise application, click here in QRL or curl or whatever. You copy this exactly. In this case, yes, you copy that and paste that in your Bubble application here, and add the same content type, application JSON, with this body. So the question and the namespace. And that's it. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things that I didn't show you while I was creating the Flowise setup. Okay, so first of all, you will have to click here in configurations, click here, go to file upload and check this. You have to check this in the observed and in the get chat flow. So here we can ensure that we have this checked out. Later, we have to enable the override configuration. In the PDF file, you have to enable this and this one. In Pinecone, you need to enable the Pinecone namespace, and that is all for this one. In the get chat flow, you have to do the same. You have to enable the override configuration. In this case, you just have to check the Pinecone namespace. Okay, now in our Bubble application, you can just upload a document inside your data in your file manager and reference that document here in files, or directly upload that. Give a name. You can give any name here and use the same name you used in this API call here. So that first you initialize this API call so that the file is inserted into Pinecone, and then you initialize this other API call, and basically the text you are going to send in the question is this one. So copy and paste that. I'm going to delete this, and that is all for the API section. So now that we have this API part completed, let's go again to our job page, and in the form I am going to add, I'm going to rename this form, and I am going to add a custom state called applicant. Okay, create, and I am going to add workflow once the page is loaded. Let's add a condition: only when get data from the URL applicant is not empty. And let's set the state of the form applicant to a search for applicant with the unique ID as the one from the URL. So get data from the URL applicant and the first item. Now let's start with the creation of the applicant. So add a workflow. Here is create applicant. Okay, so I'm going to create a new applicant basically. So in data things, create a new thing, a new applicant. Let's add all the fields. Remove this. The CV will be the file uploader document. The email will be the input email. The last name, the input last name, and the same with the others. Remove this. Okay, with that we are going to trigger the API workflow, this one, the observed document. Let's change this dynamic link and add the link from the document that we just saved in the CV of the applicant. Now here for the namespace, we have to add another event to make changes to a thing, make changes to the applicant we just created, and change the namespace of this applicant. So this will be an arbitrary text, and the arbitrary text will be the name of the applicant and the unique ID from the applicant. So result of step 1, unique ID. Okay, so now the namespace will be the result of step 2, namespace. So the last step of this workflow would be to redirect the user to the same page. So we go to the current page, send more parameters, the applicant, and the applicant will be the result of step 1, unique ID. Okay, now let's create a condition when this button is going to be shown. Okay, so this button will be shown when the form group applicant is empty. Uncheck this. And now let's create the workflow for this other button. The first step will be to create a solicitude. So let's create a new thing, solicitude, add all the fields. The applicant will be the current form applicant. The CV will be the form applicant CV. Let's delete the rank and the rank number. The job will be the current page job, and the state will be pending. Now we are going to make changes to the job of the page. So make changes to a thing, current page's job, and in solicitudes, let's add the solicitude we just created. Now the next step will be to make changes to the applicant. So make changes to a thing, current form applicant. We're going to add a solicitude, the one we just created. And then we will have to create a backend workflow. Basically, you will have to go to this backend workflow section. I have it opened here, and add a new API workflow. So I have this already created. I named this as CV Flowise. You check all of these checkboxes and request these variables: a job, an applicant, and a solicitude. Then you add from your plugins the get doc info API call that we created before, and in that we will have the question and the namespace. So the namespace will be the applicant's namespace from the variables we received in the API call, and this will be the question you will be sending. So you can copy and paste this, and in this part you just include the job subtitle from the job post, from the job we requested on the variable. And then we make changes to the solicitude, basically assigning the rank to the rank variable, the applicant, and the rank number, and where we split the result from the step 1, the body text, we split that by the semicolon, and the first item that will be the name. Basically, it is the format we are requesting to Flowise to retrieve to us once Flowise respond. So with that in mind, here we're going to call an API call. So let's go to custom events, schedule an API workflow, select the API workflow you just created. The job will be the current page's job, the applicant, the form applicant. The solicitude will be the result of the step 1, and the schedule date will be the current date time. So current date time. After that, we reset relevant inputs, and let's redirect the user to the dashboard. So let's go here, go to page, dashboard tutorial. Okay. Now let's add some conditions to this button. Basically, this button is going to be shown just when the applicant variable in the URL is not empty. So get data from URL, applicant is not empty. This will be visible. Let's uncheck this. To this group, let's change this condition. When get data from URL, apply is yes. And the last thing we need to do is to add a workflow for this button. So let's add a workflow. This button will be called apply to job. So apply. Okay. We're going to send the user to the current page, but with the parameter of apply, set it as yes. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, let's click in apply, and now we have that. Now let's go with the final result. So here we are in our bubble application, and I'm going to create some open positions I have already prepared for this video. So let's upload the image. We have this title, this subtitle in where you are seeking for a master tactician with experience leading superpowered teams in high-stakes situations. The job details and the location. Create a job, and like that I'm going to create other 2 jobs. As you can see, I have created other 2 open positions. One is looking for a multiversal anomaly investigator, and the other one is looking for a shield espionage operative. So let's apply for some of them and see how the app works. Let's go to the job section. Here in job details, we can apply. And before we apply for that job, I want to show you that I have created 20 superhero or game characters with their respective resumes, and I have downloaded each of them on my computer in PDF format. So these ones are the ones we're going to be using to test the application. Okay, back on Bubble, I'm going to use, in this case, we are looking for a master tactician with experience leading super powered teams. Okay, I think that a good match to this position will be Captain America. So let's create steve@gmail.com, Steve Rogers, the phone. Okay, let's upload the CV. I'm going to select the CV from Captain America. Okay, I'm going to use this video from YouTube in where he is fighting against the Winter Soldier. So let's put the ID of the video, and here I showcase my fighting skills. Let's create the applicant, and once created, let's send the solicitude. I added these animations, and now if we go to the dashboard, we can see that we have 1 applicant, and here we can see that the AI scored or rated this superhero with a 10 qualification because the candidate has extensive experience as a leader of the Avengers, Earth-minded heroes, demonstrating mastery in tactics and leadership in high-stakes situations. Let's apply with other superhero. Let's go here. I'm going to apply for this one. And in this case, I am going to look for a bad match to see how the app rates that candidate. So here we are looking for an specialist with knowledge of multiversal disturbances and time-space anomalies. I think that Hulk could be a bad match for this, so let's try it out. BruceBanner.com is Bruce. I think it's Banner with double N, I'm not sure. Let's add the CV of Hulk. I'm going to look for a video. Hulk versus, I don't know, versus Thanos. Okay, let's include this video, paste it here. Video details, my fight against Thanos. Create the applicant. And once created, let's send the solicitude. Okay, send. Let's go to the dashboard. And here we can see that we have 1 applicant for this job, and it is rated so low. It is because the candidate or the applicant is a brilliant scientist with expertise in gamma radiation and biochemistry, but there is no mention of experience with multiversal disturbances or time-space anomalies. And just like that, we have an application that rates candidates for a given position. If you like this video, I'm sure you will enjoy other videos on my channel. Remember to subscribe, and bye!